Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. An NFC West matchup between two southeastern rivals, the New Orleans Saints and the Atlanta Falcons. The NFC West looks like this. New Orleans at 5-5, Atlanta trying to catch up in the second half. But the Saints very much in the middle of the wild card picture. Their 5-5 record has a lot of company. Green Bay, Washington, and Phoenix all there, and they're behind Philadelphia, Chicago, and the Rams just a game ahead. Hello, everybody. I'm Tim Ryan here at Fulton County Stadium on a beautiful afternoon, and in many ways, this will be almost a home game before the sellout crowd for the New Orleans Saints. A lot of Who-Dat in attendance. Now, the Saints, a team that got off to a bad start. They've played catch-up to get even, but they are a team that figured to be a playoff contender. For the hometown Falcons, so far a disappointing season. Even though they are thought of only as a team with potential, they haven't reached it yet. And my broadcast partner, Randy Cross, let's talk first about those Saints, because they were almost a sure thing for the playoffs, and now fighting for the wild card.
Well, exactly. Head coach Jim Moore is looking to reestablish a level of play that they were at the last 2 years. And the key to that is two things. Bobby Hebert and the offense has to eat the time up on the clock, be very patient and move the ball. And on defense, Pat Swilling and Ricky Jackson at linebacker have to get after the opponent's quarterback.
Well, Chris Miller's been doing a good job on offense for Atlanta, but Marion Campbell, their coach, must be unhappy with the defense. He's making some changes.
He is, in spite of the fact the middle of that defense is playing well. Casillas, Tuggle, Rady inside are playing very good. Outside, it can't be the same, can't be said. Tim Green's playing all right. Andre Bruce, the #1 pick, is being replaced, and they're getting Bobby Butler, adding that experience back out there on cornerback. I think they're going to test the outside of the defense of the Atlanta Falcons today, and especially Deion Sanders against the run.
Well, Randy, we've got absolutely perfect football conditions here. 55 degrees in Atlanta and kind of partly cloudy skies. The Atlanta Falcons will be kicking it off, and their new kicker, Greg Davis, re-signed by the Falcons after Paul McFadden was hurt in a warm-up last week, getting ready to come on the field to try for a field goal. Davis had been cut by the New England Patriots just 2 weeks ago. The deep center, Rod Harris and Gene Atkins, and it's going to be Atkins from the 1. Atkins to the 22-yard line of the New Orleans Saints. And Bobby Hebert will bring on the offense for the first possession of the day. Bobby Hebert in the last meeting, a 20-13 victory by the Saints in the last couple of minutes, was 18 of 30 that day. Typically a solid, consistent afternoon for Hebert. Quick little flare pass out to Eric Martin, and Martin gets about 4, tripped up immediately out the right side. Deion Sanders on the stop. Offensively, across the front, Kevin Haverdink starting at left tackle, the rookie, because Jim Dombrowski moving to the left guard position for the injured Brad Edelman. Hilliard and Buford Jordan, the running back. Perriman and Turner come in on the 4 wideouts. Craig Hayward joins them in that formation as the lone running back. 2nd down and 6. Kobe Brenner makes the strong side right. Hilliard. Good defensive pursuit by the Falcons. Hold him to a gain of about a yard, led by Jesse Tuggle, the linebacker, number 58. So the somewhat shuffled defense of Atlanta. The 3 down linemen are the same. Gann, Casillas, and Thomas. Thomas there all season for the injured Rick Bryant. Marcus Cotton comes in on the passing down. Green, Rady, Tuggle. Michael Reed stepping up for Andre Bruce, who has been benched. Butler and Sanders. Butler back at his former starting position on the corner. And Case, Dimry, and Robert Moore are now on the field on this 3rd down and a long 4. Hill in motion. For Hill. Intercepted. Dimry. Dropped the ball, but he still has it. Charles Dimry returning that interception to the 15-yard line, forced out by Dalton Hilliard there. 43-yard return.
This is the case coming out on the right-hand side of your screen of Lonzel Hill beats Deion Sanders quick off the line, but Dimry plays a great center field and just cuts in front of him and makes an interception. Look, he's bobbling the ball here. He can't quite get the handle. Watch this. He runs into Sanders and drops the ball, and from here on, he gets some great support. Watch Malcolm Taylor put a block on Brock, 67. Good block there. And Dimry uses some of that natural ability all defensive backs have. Ooh, Trapillo caught one in the ear.
And there was a flag in that picture on the replay, and it brought the ball back up to the 35-yard line. It is still Falcons ball. First down, Chris Miller and company. Quick pass off the right side to Dixon. Gain of 6. Floyd Dixon, number 86. Robert Massey on the tackle. Offensively for Atlanta, Ken Radloff. Dukes playing hurt at center. Fralick, Houston Hoover, and Brad Beckman getting a surprise start over Ron Heller, a late change. Gene Lang for Keith Jones, who was out with a knee injury. Bailey and Thomas come in on the passing downs, either 3 or 4 wideouts. Michael Haynes still hurt, the starter, and Dixon the starter there. This is Settle. Settle gets about 2. It'll leave third down and nearly 2 yards for a first. Keith Jones, who hurt his knee last week, the rookie from Illinois, is on the inactive list because of bruised ribs. Warren, Wilkes, and Geathers across the front for the Saints. A solid linebacking core. In a secondary with 2 new members of it starting this year. Robert Massey, the rookie, on the corner, and Troy Cook becoming a starter on the right corner. Third down, a long 2. Miller under pressure, unloads that ball in the direction of Collins, but Pat Swilling had the heat on him, number 56. So the Falcons will try for the field goal, and Greg Davis, you see his New England stats, he missed 3 extra points. Ray Berry cut him loose, and Davis wound up coming back here.
Before the game, I was talking to Greg Davis. He says, you know, I'm glad I've got a regular job again, but this stadium is heck. There's something about this place that doesn't like me.
Miller will hold a 45-yard attempt for Davis, and it is good. So welcome home for Greg Davis. Atlanta leads 3-0. Jim Mora cannot be happy with that start. Only the 10th interception of the year for Bobby Hebert. Marion Campbell, his team, a roller coaster type of season so far, with victories over tough teams like Buffalo, but really getting walloped last week by the San Francisco 49ers. So he's happy that they're off to such a good start with a field goal by Greg Davis off the interception, Charles Dimry.
But when you're playing a superior team, Tim, you've got to get touchdowns, not field goals, because that doesn't really do much to put another team in a hole when you only get 3 points.
Davis will kick it off. Atkins at the goal line. Atkins over the 20, tripped up at about the 22-yard line by Michael Reed. And so Bobby Hebert will try again. It looked to me like Lonzel Hill was open on that play behind Sanders, and yet the good play by Dimry to come over and pick it off. The ball hanging up a little bit, and then Atlanta going just 9 yards from the line of scrimmage after the intercept.
I think it was just a mistake, to be honest with you, by Bobby Hebert. You know, as much of a student of the game as Bobby is, he should have probably realized with the coverage that he saw that safety would rotate into that area.
Hilliard has Paul Frazier with him, the free agent rookie from Northwest Louisiana State, number 32. In motion. Hebert, sideliner, incomplete. Intended for Eric Martin. Well, they've thrown 2 to Martin, and Martin's been complaining he hasn't been getting enough work. had 2 his way already. Minnesota on top 6-0 over the Eagles. A 93-yard kickoff return by Herschel Walker. They missed the extra point. Yeah, Detroit on top of Cincinnati. Lions coming off the victory last week. 2nd and 10, New Orleans at their own 22. Tim Ryan and Randy Cross live from Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta. A sellout crowd here, just the 2nd of the year for Atlanta. Many of the folks here are Saints fans. Hilliard. To the 45-yard line, Dalton Hilliard running through Falcons tacklers for 23 yards.
Several of the Falcon players told us if you make a defensive mistake, Hilliard would take advantage of it. Watch the center, 61, turns Casillas, number 75. Hilgenberg gets a good block, and Hilliard takes advantage of it, breaks right up there behind it, and completely splits the seam on the defense.
Ran right through Evan Cooper. Michael Reed finally pulled him down. First down, New Orleans at their own 44-yard line. Hilliard coming into the game, 722 yards, en route to a 1,000-yard season. Buford Jordan. Jordan gets about 8, maybe 9. Now here's a guy that's coming off a hamstring injury, hurt a knee last week, and by the end of the week said he felt just fine. They worried whether or not he'd make it for this game, but running hard here for 9.
Well, there's a guy sitting behind him on the bench, Craig Hayward, number 34 out of Pittsburgh, who's very, very anxious to get some playing time. So Buford better stay healthy.
2nd and a yard. Saints in Atlanta territory at the 47. Jordan, the lead back, trying for the first down, and it looks like he has it. For an NFL update, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Well, Tim, here's the kickoff return for the touchdown by Herschel Walker of the Minnesota Vikings. Now, keep in mind, this is the first kickoff he's ever taken back for a touchdown in the NFL. He asked the Dallas Cowboys to return kickoffs, but they said no, they didn't want to use him there. So he shows what he can do, but they blow the extra point. 6-0 back to Tim.
All right, Brent, exciting play to start the day for Minnesota. Herschel Walker, 93 yards. First down, New Orleans. Cotton comes in defensively. Hebert almost intercepted. A real miscue there. Hilliard, the intended receiver, and Marcus Cotton had the ball thrown right at him. He can't believe he dropped that. He must have been more surprised than Hebert was.
I think what we'll see here is a good example. Watch Hilliard. He's on the right side of your screen in the backfield. He's going to come out. He'll see the coverage. You know, watch, he looks at the linebacker, so he turns in. He sees the linebackers are outside of him. He turns in. Hebert thought he was going out and threw it right at the defenders.
And Hilliard did not look back for the ball at that point. The ball was already in the air. That's a rare kind of mental mistake, the kind that Bobby Hebert hates to make and hates to see his teammates make. 2nd down. Tight end Brenner. Gain of 9 will leave 3rd and a yard for the Saints at the Atlanta 35-yard line.
Hobie Brenner's having his best season so far there. Brenner, number 85. This is his 20th catch now. And Jim Moore, the head coach, says, hey, this is the first year Hobie's been healthy the entire season. Although they've only played 10 games, for him, it's a heck of a streak.
I know he's a USC guy and you're a UCLA alumnus, but nonetheless, Brenner has looked like he would be a great tight end if he could stay healthy. 2 of them are in there now. John Tice joining him, number 82, on 3rd and short. Hilliard, first down to the 28 of Atlanta. So Hebert escapes from a near second interception early in the first quarter, and now has his team driving deep in Atlanta territory.
You know, one thing you forget about Dalton Hilliard when you're watching him play, he's 5'8", 204 pounds. He looks a lot and runs a lot like Barry Sanders. Or actually, Hilliard was in the league first, so let's say Sanders runs like him. They're built very similar. They have got the thighs. Look at the legs on that guy.
7:34 to go first quarter. Atlanta leading 3-0. New Orleans threatening. One setback. Hilliard. They shut him down. Tony Casillas ranging across from the nose position to make the initial contact. Gain of about 2, maybe 3 yards with the spot. You know, when you think about the fact that they've got Ruben Mays on injured reserve with his second Achilles tendon surgery, one on each foot now, when they have them both, you've got an outstanding pair of running backs, and yet when they do, it's like who gets the ball the most.
Well, exactly. And then you've got guys like Buford Jordan and Craig Hayward behind them, who are more of the power pounding kind of running backs. So they're going to have a heck of a combination for next year.
What a group. 35 yards already on 4 carries for Hilliard. Green. Hilliard. First down to the 15-yard line of the Falcons. Deion Sanders made the tackle, number 21.
You know, we talked about Ruben Mays being hurt. He got the Achilles tendon. This man, Dalton Hilliard, steps in, number 21. What kind of a year has he had? Take a look at this. Up there with those kinds of names, Jerry Rice and the rest. Dalton Hilliard, 1,051 yards with over 700 rushing. This is a guy just has a dead aim on over 1,000-plus yard season.
33 catches coming into the game, second only to the wide receivers, Hill and Martin. On first down, Hilliard again the lone setback. Play action, bad pass. Incomplete, intended for Martin.
Right now we're seeing Bobby Hebert and the New Orleans Saints offense run a lot of 2 tight end, single back offense. And here we see their success when they get inside that red zone area or inside the 20-yard line. And they've got such a patient, methodical offense. You'd expect a high ranking for that type of an offense because it can wear a defense down. And you see, Atlanta, they haven't distinguished themselves. They're in the middle of the league.
11th play of this drive for Hebert. Second and 10. Jordan in motion. Hilliard cut from behind. Tony Casillas. 13 tackles a week ago for Casillas in that rout at the hands of San Francisco. He played an outstanding game and has been playing brilliantly all season long.
He's playing so good they gave him a red visor to wear. Here we go. Well, he's right in the middle of the screen, number 75, the nose guard, just in front of Tuggle, 58, the linebacker. See that the guard comes in, Trapillo tries to leg whip him and put a reverse block on him, but one of Tony Casillas' strengths is his foot speed and his balance. It's hard to get Tony Casillas off his feet.
Andre Bruce is in as a pass rusher with Marcus Cotton, 5 defensive backs. Third and 10. Good time. The receiver falls down, incomplete. Lonzel Hill. Dimry had the coverage, but Hill never broke loose from him. He fell down near the goal line.
Lonzel Hill, number 87, on the left side of your screen in the slot there, puts a move on Case, gets out of the way, tries to make a break. Now watch his feet. He sort of gets tangled on his own. He might have nicked a little bit of Dimry's, but it looks like he just tripped over his own feet trying to get out of the way.
Field goal try, 33 yards for Morton Anderson. And it is good. So we have a tie game with 4:45 remaining first quarter. New Orleans 3, Atlanta 3. Randy Cross in Atlanta were tied at 3 on the 33-yard field goal by Morton Anderson of the New Orleans Saints. And you can see all of those gold and yellow jerseys and tops and sweatshirts and jackets. Those are Saints fans who have made the trip over to Atlanta. And the estimates range anywhere from 10 to 20,000 folks have come up. The Who-Dats, all here to cheer on the Saints. So it creates almost a hometown environment for them.
You know, this is my first chance to see this rivalry. This is almost like a college rivalry to these fans down here. They were out in the parking lot at 9 o'clock. You see Atlanta leads the series, but the Saints have won the last 5.
Including the one earlier this year, 20-13. Bouncing kickoff. Sanders a little difficulty at the stick, has it now. And flags are down just as he was tackled. The flags are upfield. Joe Colbrand made an ankle grab on Sanders inside the 20. So the ever-dangerous Sanders stopped that time.
A flag in that area invariably is hands in the back or illegal use of hands.
Our referee today, Tom Dooley, makes that signal against Atlanta.
Illegal use of hands, blocking the back. Number 95 on the receiving team, first down.
That's Michael Reed, number 95, the linebacker.
Marion Campbell loves the way Michael Reed plays football. He says, I've got him starting today for Andre Bruce, but he goes, this guy on special teams is a maniac. He does everything we ask of him, and he does it well.
Getting a chance to start today. Atlanta having to start from inside their 10 now on their second offensive possession. Chris Miller, the fine third-year quarterback from Oregon. Gene Lang gets only a yard, stacked up by the middle of that Saints defense.
Well, I know Marion Campbell told us Friday, we're going to establish the run. Well, you couldn't pick a worse team to try to establish a run against than these New Orleans Saints. They're ranked number 1 in the NFL, and with guys like Vaughn Johnson and James Wilkes, and you got Mills inside, and Ricky Jackson there put a heck of a smack on them. It's going to be tough. A real long day's work to try to run the ball consistently against the Saints defense. You got to throw short passes to keep them off balance.
And Atlanta without Keith Jones, just 3 running backs in their lineup today. 9. Incomplete, intended for Dixon. Nearly picked off by the rookie Robert Massey. A flag down deep in the secondary. Away from the play, the flag was thrown, and apparently Saints are indicating it's against Atlanta. Chris Miller will wait to call the next play.
Pass interference. Number 83 offense, penalty is declined. It's third down.
That's the tight end, Brad Beckman, charged with interference offensively.
There's Massey, number 40, the rookie out of North Carolina Central. He's having a great year so far. And he says, last week, the New England Patriots played against us. They threw 59 passes. And I swear I thought 50 of them were thrown at me. People are starting to try to challenge me.
5'10", 182-pounder. I think he likes the action, though. He's a pretty confident young man. 3rd and 9. Miller just gets it off. It's complete, but short of the first down. Gene Lang made the catch, and he had Vaughn Johnson draped all over him. Good effort by Lang, but did not get to the marker, and Atlanta will punt.
There's a man, Vaughn Johnson, number 53 for the New Orleans Saints, that is the undisputed king currently of inside linebackers. You can take Singletary, you can put him in the same category. I like this guy right here, Vaughn Johnson. He will hit like no one else in the NFL.
We'll be watching him throughout the game. He is an exciting guy when he puts leather to leather. Rod Harris is deep for Scott Fulhaig's punt. Fulhaig standing at his 2. There's Harris at the 43-yard line of New Orleans. Fine punt by Fulhaig. Backs Harris up to the 30-yard line. Michael Reed decks him at the 31. A 53-yard punt by Fulhaig. That's a clutch kick for Atlanta. Ryan and Randy Cross in Atlanta, Georgia were tied at 3, time winding down first quarter. New Orleans ball. You're looking at Andre Bruce in an unfamiliar role, standing on the sideline with the defensive unit on the field.
Yes, and according to Coach Campbell, that's about where he deserves to be this week. He has not played very well for the Falcons, and I think it's to his disadvantage to have another fellow rookie and top number 1 pick, Deion Sanders, come in and have so much impact. It only makes it more glaring his inabilities the last 2 years.
Complains about the style of defense. We'll get into that. First down. Hebert, lots of time for Tice. He's got it. First down, New Orleans. Perfectly executed play to the tight end at the 44-yard line of Atlanta. Evan Cooper steered him out.
I did some color on the old USFL games quite a few years back when Bobby Hebert was with the Oakland Invaders. He was so impressive yesterday when we talked to him. His knowledge of this game has grown. And look at the touch he puts on this ball. comes down and touches him out of bounds. But Bobby Hebert has just grown by leaps and bounds as years have gone by.
23-yard completion. Hebert passing at 65% on the season. 94.2 rating. Fires the flare out to Martin, a little wide receiver screen, and that just didn't happen. Good defense by Atlanta, reacting quickly. Deion Sanders coming up, and there'll be little if any gain on the play. The Falcon is down at the point of contact, and that might be the defensive end Ben Thomas, number 72. We'll double check on that, and we'll return to Fulton County Stadium in a moment. We're tied at 3. And Randy Cross back in Atlanta. It'll be 2nd and 10 for the Saints after the virtually no gain on the pass out to Martin. You can see New Orleans with 93 yards so far to only 15. Atlanta got that early interception on Hebert's first pass, converted it into a field goal. But New Orleans has had the ball ever since.
As an offensive player, playing against the Saints can be very frustrating. They get the ball and they hold it a long time. You've got to make the most of every chance you get against the New Orleans Saints.
Thomas was the injured Falcon. Malcolm Taylor came in for him. Hilliard, nowhere. 4 Falcons swarmed to the ball. Tim Gordon, number 41, and Michael Reed, number 95.
Well, Gordon got the tackle, but the real work was done by Reed, number 95, and by Tuggle, 58, came out and stripped the offensive lineman completely out from in front of him.
Well, on the sideline, actor David Keith, a well-known football fan, but mainly known as a Dallas Cowboys fan. Big story on one of those entertainment shows, one of the magazines. He's given up on the Cowboys. Doesn't like the record. He's looking for a new team to cheer for. So he's picking either the Falcons or the Saints, at least today. Ben Thomas back in defensively for Atlanta, at right defensive end. 3rd down and 12. Complete to Floyd Turner, loose ball. The rookie wide receiver Floyd Turner dropped it out of the hit. Let's see who's got it.
Is that great? Nobody wants to get off that. How do you find the ball? There it is.
Robert Moore came away with it. Are they going to let him keep it?
But look at all the guys on the ground. Did Robert Moore come out there with a ball?
Maybe there's another ball out there. We haven't had an official signal yet. It's just that possession is 9/10 of the law. But it's going to be New Orleans. The other 10th goes to the Saints. Meanwhile, Evan Cooper evidently nicked on that play. And he's still getting attention.
The thing to watch for here is to watch for 88 Turner come across the screen. Now watch where he gets tackled. Emery hits him right on the top of the head, right as he's changing hands, and then comes in and strips the ball out of his left hand. And your guess is as good as mine from here. Now watch all these bodies. Bam! Bam! Dog pile!
Looks like a rugby scrum. Cooper injured on the play, being assisted off.
He's on the bottom of the pile.
Boy, a lot of weight on him. Meanwhile, Saints got to keep it, but they'll have to punt. 4th down and still 9 to go. Good defensive series by the Falcons. Tommy Barnhart, the punter, standing at the 42-yard line of New Orleans. Deion Sanders waiting at the 10. Trying to angle it, but it's taken by Sanders. And he is stopped at the 23-yard line. Just a 29-yard punt, and John Tice preventing Sanders from getting loose. Fulton County Stadium sold out for just the 2nd time this year. The Falcons trying for their 4th consecutive victory at home, and revenge for the loss earlier this year at New Orleans.
What's happened so far in this game is the Saints offense has made a lot of mistakes. Quarterback Bobby Hebert has made a couple bad decisions, and they put the ball on the ground a few times, which has stopped some drives. What we got to see is Atlanta's got to attack this defense now through the air. Forget the run.
1st down from their own 23. Play action on 1st down. And Miller, complete. Floyd Dixon took the hit but held on.
The thing to look for here, watch number 44. He's going to be in the top of your screen. Dave Waymer. He sees Miller. He watches him. He's 50. Look at him setting up this hit. Look at it. He kind of went back and goes, oh, I'm going to get there right at the same time as the ball, and I'll knock that thing loose. Well, he did.
21-yard gain for Floyd Dixon. On the 44-yard line of Atlanta. John Settle. Settle is mashed after a gain of maybe 2. James Gethers and Ricky Jackson combining on the hit. And we reach the end of the first quarter, tied at 3. Downtown Atlanta, the Capitol Building in the state of Georgia. And we're nearby at Fulton County Stadium. The New Orleans Saints and Atlanta are tied on 2 field goals, one by Morton Anderson, tying it up after Greg Davis had opened the scoring for the Falcons. Tim Ryan and Randy Cross watching Atlanta with decent field position here at their own 46-yard line. Second down and 8. Chris Miller, 3 of 5 passing at this point. John Settle. Settle bowls his way straight ahead for a first down to the 44-yard line of New Orleans.
Anytime you get a defense aggressive and really wanting to come after the quarterback like New Orleans knows that Atlanta has to throw the ball. And those big defensive ends rushing, I mean, on the nickel, guys like Swilling and Jackson and them, they want to come after them and go after the quarterback, and that opens up the draw every time.
1 mile surprise on the scores passing by. Tampa Bay leading the Bears now 10-0. Buccaneers beaten badly last week by Minnesota. Chicago, an up-and-down season so far. Settle, again, the ball carrier, not much this time. John Settle, talking with him the other day, feeling that the running game isn't what it could be. He is a 1,000-yard rusher from a year ago, asking for leadership out there. He says, I try to lead by example. I'd like some guys to stand up here and give them leadership, but it's clear that this juggled offensive line does not meet his criteria.
Well, that's right, Tim. They miss Scully. Used to wear number 61 for him, and he's holding out this year. John Scully, former Golden Domer out of Notre Dame, and their usual center was Wayne Ratloff. So what they have is kind of a mixed bag there on the left side next to Mike Ken. And Mike's been hurt most of the year, too.
Ken's been playing hurt virtually every week with one injury or another. Second down. 9. Pressure on Miller, and he unloads in the direction of Sean Collins. Ricky Jackson came flying in on top of Miller.
That was one of those things you'd hear some people say, God, a great placement. He really dumped that off. That was self-defense. He was getting rid of that ball. It didn't look like he really had much of an idea where exactly it was going, but he wasn't holding on to it long enough for Ricky Jackson to hit him real hard. Von Johnson, number 53. Look at that face mask. That's built for hitting. That's something you can run into a wall. The helmet might break, but that face mask will be all right.
He is some tough customer. Does he love this game of physical football? Third down. Miller, pressure again. Swilling got him.
That's number 11 on the season.
11 sacks for Swilling. He told us 20 would be a nice round number if he could get to it.
A real nice round number for anybody. And he'll be outside on the right-hand side of your screen when we get a replay here. He's got the kind of speed that you cannot ignore. You can't stand back here like Miller's going to do and hold on. He never sees him. You got to know he's coming. He's kind of like the alien from the movie. You can't see him. It might be dark, but you know he's there.
Colhaig hits it from the 39-yard line. Short punt, traffic, and a loose ball. Saints have it. Fortunate play for New Orleans. Floyd Turner came up with a loose ball. Just a 27-yard punt, and the fact that it was short, Randy, led to what happens here.
We talked at the head of the show about they got to establish a level of play. Making stupid mistakes like this, not knowing where the ball is the kind of thing that has really happened in New Orleans so far this season.
Ball player leads the league in average yards per rush, and Dexter Manley suspended for life after the third offense in the drug substance rules, and that's just a real shame, Eddie.
Well, it really is, but there can't be like 3 different sets of rules for players in the league. There's got to be an established set way of doing things, and Paul Tagliabue's being tested early in his regime and came through with flying colors. I mean, you got to feel sorry for a guy like Dexter. He's had a lot of problems in his life, learning disabilities and whatnot, but you just can't make exceptions.
So Manley, a very colorful, exciting guy. Of course, he can apply for reinstatement a year from now. He hasn't yet said what his plans are. On first down, Hilliard, maybe a yard. Falcons defense playing some inspired type of football here in this through the first quarter, as we are now early in the second. Gang tackling at every opportunity. That one led by Rady, Casillas, and Tuggle, all there together.
Well, this is a dangerous opponent in the Atlanta Falcons. They were really burned and embarrassed last week against the 49ers, 45-3 loss. And it wasn't that the 49ers really looked like they did the big plays well. They beat them up physically and had a good game. Tony Casillas had 13 tackles, but how many of those 13 were downfield?
Second down and 8. Eric Martin dropped the ball. If it's a completion, it will be Atlanta football. And that is the indication. Did he have the ball before he lost it? Ben Thomas, the guy to grab the loose ball.
Well, evidently they've moved up the down. They're going to rule this incomplete.
Just an incompleted pass.
And now they're saying they're going to have to take a little look at it. Now let's watch. He's got to have possession and 2 feet.
No way.
It was a good call. The ball was never in Martin's hands.
Well, his back was to us, so we couldn't see that juggle until we saw the replay. Michael Reed's the guy that hits him.
It hits him from the back. You never really see it. Now see the ball come out and onto Martin's back right after Reed hit him. He clearly never really had possession. Ben Thomas diving on the ball, praying for a turnover.
Replay official Bill Parkinson viewing those with us, and that they've got these guys stuck away in these mysterious little.
Well, it looks like those shields the guys wearing their helmets.
It is kind of strange, you know. We always show these shots.
After further
week
review,
after
the
week.
play will stand as called. It's third down.
They're all tucked away in these little hiding places like caves. Well, that was an incompleted pass, and Bobby Hebert will try and do something on third down. Here comes Cotton. Hebert gets it off complete. First down. Lonzel Hill. Hebert delivering a low bullet, and Hill going down for it. First down at the 36-yard line.
What makes this play work so well for Bobby Hebert and Lonzel Hill's protection. Watch, he gets pressure on the outside. All he has to do is take steps up, and Hilgenberg and Trapillo and the rest of them got plenty of pad and time for him inside. And Lonzel Hill goes all the way down to the ground to pull that one up.
First down at the 36-yard line. So the Saints get out of the hole. Lonzel Hill with 40 catches coming into today's action, leading the Saints in that department. Again, good protection. Short man Hilliard, and he'll be close to another first down. Tim Green and John Rady. Saw Green trying to knock that ball loose. Green out there with an injury where his shoulder and sternum meet, actually the collarbone and the sternum, and he just insisted on playing today. Bothered with it all week long, but after practice on Friday, said, I plan to be there.
That's one of those things. I've done that. It's that little cartilage area. You can feel it right on your upper chest there, right where the clavicle comes down and joins your rib cage. It hurts like heck for a couple days. By Friday or so, it feels fine. I'm sure he'll know that thing's hurting tonight after this game.
Green having a real good season and enjoying it. Didn't want to miss a game. Buford Jordan on the second and short has the first down. So the Saints move the sticks again to the 49-yard line of New Orleans. Casillas and Thomas stopped them there. We're tied at 3, 10-14 remaining in the first half.
This Atlanta defense is perfectly made for this New Orleans offense. New Orleans wants to be patient, dink the ball, and move it slowly, methodically down the field. On the other hand, Atlanta's willing not to put a pass rush on and to let you dink the ball down the field and hope you make mistakes.
Hilliard out of the backfield. Met by Rady and driven back after a gain of 3. Make it Tuggle, number 58, for the first contact. Jesse Tuggle, one of 2 free agents, literally out of college type free agents to make this team. Tuggle back in '87 along with John Settle out of Appalachian. Flag down on the play, and it'll be against Atlanta.
Personal foul, 21 out defense, first down.
Personal foul apparently against Sanders. That moves it all the way to the 31-yard line.
Well, Deion's used to getting attention. He's gotten quite a bit of attention the last, 10, 12 weeks. 2 personal fouls last week. He caught a lot of flack for catching a kickoff and promptly running out of bounds. So attention's not anything he really tries to deflect. He loves it.
First down for the Saints in Atlanta territory. Shot to Hilliard. Got about 2, maybe 3 yards. John Rady on the tackle. Jim Moroff saying, I don't see any problem with Hilliard getting the ball as much as he does. I think he calculated an average of about 20 yards, 20 carries a game, and a little under that. Said it doesn't seem to be wearing him out, even though the suggestions were made that Craig Hayward and/or Buford Jordan should have more action.
It's one of the things that makes this a different style of offense. They don't mind giving a running back the ball 20 times. A lot of more high-tech offenses, you wouldn't see a running back get the ball that many times on a run.
Second and 9. Good protection again, and out of bounds, incomplete. Buford Jordan, the intended receiver, had double coverage on him, and Hebert likely just threw that one away. Tim Green deep there to make the double coverage on Jordan out of the backfield. It'll be third down, so the old bend but don't break Atlanta defense doing what it's designed to do. Now at the Atlanta 30, they force a 3rd and long and hope to stop you right here. 4 wideouts come in. Martin, Perriman, Hill, and Turner for New Orleans.
Even on the 30, they're well within Anderson's field goal range.
Interception. Tim Jordan. Second of this first half against Bobby Hebert.
Bobby Hebert and the New Orleans receivers need to go over to the sideline, find a chalkboard, and tell each other what they're doing, where you're going to cut, where I'm going to throw it. Lonsdale Hill turns in. Bobby throws that ball like he thinks he's going to turn out on the ball, and Gordon's just standing there. That was a gift.
We'll be back to Fulton County Stadium in a moment. Now the Saints are used to beating everybody up in the first half on the scoreboard. 159 points. They've got only 3, and right now they don't have the football. And they've had possession of 15 minutes, 32 seconds to this point. John Settle. First down, Falcons to the New Orleans 44-yard line. David Waymer got him.
It's only a matter of time when a team is playing bad and making mistakes and acting kind of lethargic on one side of the ball for it to start affecting the other side of the ball. Ricky Jackson misses the tackle here on Settle. People are kind of waiting around for the other guys to make tackles, and John Settle says, the heck with you, I'll just run with the ball. He blasts right up the middle and says, if you don't want to tackle me, I'll score.
Pat Swilling finally got him. He's down. Miller to the tight end, Ron Heller. Pick up a 5. Bobby Hebert passing at 65%. We mentioned only 9 interceptions, 14 touchdowns, and 94.2 rating. And Bobby conceding Joe Montana as the best quarterback in football, still counting himself up there among the rest, and I think properly so.
Well, he and offensive coordinator Carl Smith there with the headset and the hat on are going over the place. I think Bobby has the maturity now and the patience to come back from something like this. 2-3 years ago, he'd had a hard time.
2nd and 5 Falcons. Miller to Deion Sanders. Well, Saints were ready for that. And they told us they would be.
Robert Massey says, we're looking for them to kind of try this Deion Sanders guy on the offensive side of the ball. Let him try to get in there and go against me. I'm fast. Let's see how fast he really is. And Miller, they smell this from the first second. He goes to throw it, and from the second he lets that ball go, look at that. Waymer's out there, our Toy Cook's out there, Swilling's out there. Mike Ken can't block both of them. Cook makes the tackle. Swilling's out there. Mike ends up being kind of a spectator. There's nothing he can do.
Looked like it was to be a screen out there, and New Orleans was all over it. 3rd down and 14. Miller, complete. 1st down. Dixon takes a tremendous shot, but again, the 5'9", 170-pounder holds on to the ball.
It gets up laughing. I guess you might as well laugh.
Whoa, what a tough guy.
Dixon is the nearest guy to you right here. We're going to see him go downfield. He takes a wicked shot. Look at him stop. Now watch this. Bam, bam. Whew. That'll rattle your dentures if you got it.
1st down, Atlanta settles. It's a couple.
Maybe I did play too long. 13 years, I'm talking about dentures already.
Well, I won't ask the obvious question. But I haven't seen you doing a commercial for one of those fix-its yet. 2nd down and 9. Jim Mora must be wondering what's hit him here on the first half. They've got only 3 points. You saw in a graphic material there just a few minutes ago that it is the league in scoring in the first half. And not only have they not scored more than a field goal, they've been having all kinds of other problems. Miller's pass incomplete, intended for Gene Lang out of the backfield. Waymer had him covered all the way downfield.
You know, Jim Mora's got to be getting a little bit concerned, because what he's having happen is this offense led by Chris Miller is starting to dink and move the ball down the field. What he told us last night when we spoke to him was, we've got to establish that level of play. We've got to keep our intensity up. So far, the intensity's only been on the defensive side of the ball. Their offense is sleepwalking.
Big play for the defense here. 3rd and 9. Screen, settle, lots of room.
This good score.
Touchdown. John Settle, 27-yard touchdown play. Randy, when he caught the ball, he had 2 blockers in front of him and no defenders within sight.
Not a one. He had Mike Ken and Wayne Radloff. They just ran up pretty much down about the 3 or 4 yard line before they ran into any defenders. You talk about an aggressive defense. screens and draws are the best things there are against aggressive defenses.
Greg Davis to the point after. It's good. And the Falcons take the lead. Now you'll see the real estate he had to work with here.
Now watch the New Orleans defense. It's like there's blood in the water. They're a bunch of sharks. They're coming after that quarterback. They're stumbling over each other. They're trying to kill themselves to get to the quarterback. That's what you want as an offensive player, because that sets up the screen. Ken's on the left. Radloff's trying to get in front of him. Radloff just does get a block on Milton Mack, and Settle just rolls into the end zone.
As Fulton County Stadium, the Falcons have taken a 10-3 lead. 27-yard touchdown pass. Miller to Settle on a screen. Greg Davis to pick it off. Gene Atkins from the 1. Fine second effort by Atkins to the 32-yard line. They had him inside the 20. Robert Moore finally stopped him.
Let's take one more look at that touchdown on the screen by John Settle. And the thing to look for here, you'll see the defensive line come after Chris Miller at quarterback. Now watch Settle, top of the screen, just gets a block. Swilling knows he's been beaten. Now watch how long it takes to get another Saint in the picture. They've been completely run off by the rest of the wide receivers, Collins and company, and Bailey and all them, Dixon. The defensive backs were all in the end zone, waiting for the running back to get there to score.
Fine play by Atlanta on the 31-yard line. Saints on first down. Hilliard right up the middle for 6. 4:38 to go in the first half. Tony Casillas made the stop.
Yeah, when we spoke to Jim Maury yesterday, he said he wanted to be a lot more patient, but he wanted to throw the ball a little bit more. He's been running the ball very effectively, and Hilliard's been running the ball very well, but he wanted to work his short passing game more into it today. Don't look for him to start panicking and start doing all kinds of crazy things. He knows he has a talent edge. It's just a matter of motivation.
Hilliard again. Got about 3, maybe 4 yards. Mike Gann got him there. Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta, sellout crowd, second of the year for the Atlanta Falcons. And they have the lead 10-3 with 3:50 and counting down first half. New Orleans dominating play on the ground and yardage in the first quarter, but 2 interceptions have damaged this young man, one leading to a field goal and the other leading to an Atlanta touchdown. Third down, long yard. Falcons take a timeout.
The coaches on the sideline for the Atlanta Falcons were having a conniption fit. They were jumping up and down and screaming and yelling onto the field about calling a timeout. So obviously they were in a defense that Coach Marion Campbell thought wasn't too good.
Campbell got Rady over there now to make sure they're sorted out. Well, this cast of characters will be with you on Thanksgiving Day at 3:30 Eastern Time. The NFL Today crew starts America's homecoming on Thanksgiving on the NFL Today. Brent Irvin Dick will take a look back at 2 decades, 2 coaches, and the 2 sports of Too Tall Jones. And then football. Cowboys will host the Philadelphia Eagles in a traditional Thanksgiving Day football feast.
And for a change right here, the Birds got the advantage over the humans. The Birds got to be favored over the Cowboys.
I'd say so, and that's why they're 6-4, and Dallas is 1-9. Jimmy Johnson, welcome to the National Football League.
Here's Coach Hannafin in his offensive line there, going over things. Hannafin's got that chalkboard out there. He's talking to Mike Ken there, number 78. Bill Fraley's going over things with the center, Jamie Dukes, number 64. So they're excited about having a lead.
On third down, it'll be close to a first down for Hilliard. Tuggle and Reed got the stop on. Tampa Bay and Chicago now 10-3. It is a first down for the Saints. 51 yards on 11 carries in the first half for Dalton Hilliard. He had 106 against New England last week. Hebert. Two of them by the safety, Tim Gordon. Tice, the tight end, the intended receiver, and he goes limping off the field. This is a rare 30 minutes of football for Bobby Hebert.
And the unusual thing here is that as conservative an offense as this is, and as conservative a quarterback as he isn't seeing the safety rotating with him. He told us last night, I know the safety watches my eyes, and he follows where I go. If he goes to the left, he sees me turn to the right. I know the safety goes with him. Well, Bobby, you're throwing it right into the coverage, and Tim Gordon's gotten you twice.
First down, Atlanta. Their own 43. Miller is sacked. Swilling. And Wayne Martin, the rookie from Arkansas. Saints' #1 pick. Getting in on that with Swilling.
Pat Swilling's down on the far right of your screen, and he's standing up. And Wayne Martin's that defensive end. You know, Jim Moore talks about Wayne Martin. I like this guy. He's got a great motor. He's not a great pass rusher, but he's a good one. Look, he just gets through there. He might get half a sack. Swilling comes in there using his speed and his quickness. Now watch Swilling coming in. He told us yesterday, I can get my hand underneath. He's got those long arms. He gets them extended on you, but when I can get underneath Mike Ken and get underneath his right arm, I can get a sack on Miller.
We've reached the 2-minute warning. Atlanta 10-3, and they have the ball. Brian and Randy Cross back at Fulton Stadium in Atlanta. 3 first-half interceptions by the Falcons, 2 of them by Tim Gordon, has got the Saints in some difficulty. Atlanta leading 10-3, 2 minutes to the first half. And Chris Miller and company have it at their own 36-yard line. After the sack, they are second and 17. Dropped by Heller, the tight end, number 80.
Heller signed here at Atlanta after being with San Francisco for a few years, and now there in the Bay Area, that was one of the raps against him, was the fact that he could make some great tough catches, but a lot of the times he lost concentration on the short balls and dropped a lot of easy passes. I know the coaches weren't real happy with him last week against the 49ers. He dropped a touchdown pass in the end zone early in the game.
Plan B free agent went to Oregon State. Atlanta's used one of their timeouts. Oregon has all 3 as we are under the 2-minute mark. Third down, 17. Miller, the weak man Settle. Settle blasts his way to a first down, Atlanta. 45-yard line of New Orleans.
And when John Settle gets back to the huddle, he's got to go to Sean Collins there, number 85, and say thank you very much. Because he catches this little pass, we'll see him swing out of the backfield. This is on the right side of the screen, 44, come across the middle. Now watch for 85, Collins going against number 53, Vaughn Johnson. Watch it, spam. He just slows down Johnson enough to keep him off Settle. And then Waymer, the rest of the defense led by Waymer and Brett Maxey, finish him off.
Collins, the wide receiver, weighs over 200 pounds and is not shy about blocking. We'll be right back. 3 Atlanta lead, Randy. They've got first down at the New Orleans 45.
And there was Chris Miller talking to Rod Dowhauer and Jim Hannafin. Dowhauer, the offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons. I would look for them in this situation not to get greedy. Don't try to go downfield, because going downfield means you got to have long pass protection. And as good as they've done so far in this first half, one of the things they haven't done is give Chris Miller a lot of time to throw the ball. He's got to go with a 3 to 5 step drop. Be patient. If you get a big play for a touchdown, great. Let's get down inside the 30 and set ourselves up for a field goal.
Saints took the last time out. They have 2 remaining. Atlanta has 2 remaining. 3 wide receivers. Michael Hennington. A pass intended for Settle, incomplete. Good pressure on Miller. And Vaughn Johnson tracking Settle. And Miller motioning to Settle. He should have taken it out to the sideline a little earlier to shake loose from that linebacker. It'll be second down and 10. Here's a guy that is going to be an outstanding quarterback. You hear the football people around the league talking about Chris Miller. Everybody recognizing the future that lies ahead of him.
I think the only thing standing between him and a really, truly great career is the supporting cast go along with his talent. They need to get some more quality offensive linemen. They've got to get a couple more good wide receivers, and they need a defense to keep people from scoring.
Drop on the settle. First down to the 30-yard line. 1:06 and counting down. Clock stopped at 1:06, and the Falcons take a timeout.
So far, the Atlanta Falcons offense, led by Chris Miller and with offensive coordinator Rod Dowhower, have done a good job of mixing up plays. Every time it looks like New Orleans is getting an edge with their aggressive style, they run a draw. They run a screen for a touchdown. They're keeping New Orleans off balance. There's Rod Dowhower with the headset on, standing next to Coach Marion Campbell with the black hat.
Coming up at halftime, Brent Nerve will be on hand from New York with all the scores and highlights, latest info from around the league, and the story of the defense. But as the Denver fans, a mile high again, the Bucking Broncos. Wade Phillips, the young defensive coordinator, came over from the Eagles. Son of Bum doing the job in Denver with the Bucking Broncos. Coming up at halftime. Well, the Houdats are on their feet here trying to exhort the New Orleans Saints. Quite a crowd, as we mentioned, coming over from the New Orleans area to support the Saints on the road, and this is a southeastern rivalry by two teams in the NFC West. They love this. Tommy Novas had a great comment. He said, I think it's got to be such a good rivalry that we didn't have very good teams, so we figured on beating the other guy. That was a game we could win. Miller, incomplete. Again, pressure up the middle. A blitzing Von Johnson. And he tried to go quickly to Lang. Massey had the coverage. The cornerback, number 40, and then Gene Atkins gave a little shot for good measure.
You'd be curious. Their play selection seems limited at this time. They're going to these little short dink things at the back, and they don't have right now something in the middle to a tight end or something on maybe a post-type pattern to a wide receiver that Chris Miller, can throw the ball up and let him run underneath it.
Well, one of their favorite plays in situations like this is to go to Collins on the slant, but we haven't seen that yet in the first half. Sideline. Incomplete. Intended for Michael Haynes. The ball was there, but he couldn't quite hold on. Perfect strike from Miller.
Don't worry, Chris. You did as good as you could do. Michael Haynes, number 81, has been bothered by a bit of a shoulder problem, but Milton Mack just gets his arms in there. Now, he never did turn around and look at the quarterback or the ball. He just starts seeing that the guy is trying to catch the ball and starts flailing his arms in front of him. That's an interpretation the ref has to make. Was that face guarding? He thought not.
Third down. Settle, a terrific effort. Close to the first down marker. Just short. Waymer takes him out. 50 seconds remain to play. The crowd wants him to go on 4th and about a foot.
And he's going to kick the ball.
Greg Davis comes on. That's greeted by boos. Atlanta with the lead, 10-3.
This is a fine decision. I think you've got a kicker in Davis who's familiar with these surroundings. He's not crazy about the place, but he can get to the 3 points. Let's get that 10-point lead and head on into the locker room.
38-yard attempt for Greg Davis, just signed again this week after the injury to Paul McFadden. No good. Well, that brings the Boo Birds out naturally. See, Coach, you were right.
An opportunity to get points, even with a timeout left. Even though you could go for it, and you might make it, take that opportunity, put your 3 points up to do it. Marion Campbell took a chance. Greg Davis didn't come through for him.
So the Saints have a life here from the 20-yard line. 45 seconds still to play first half. Let's see how Jim Mora approaches this. Going right to the shotgun.
This is that time of the game they're either going to throw on, fall on the ball, or go for the old big bend. Everybody goes long on the right-hand side.
Flags everywhere as the Falcons poured in.
Everybody goes long, but Stan Brock went early.
Ball start, 67 offense. First down.
Dan Brock, the veteran right tackle in his 10th year out of Colorado.
You know, as many mistakes as Jim Mora's team has made today, that is New Orleans' penalty today.
First and 15. Inside handoff. Craig Hayward's first carry. Only got a couple. Ironhead out of Pittsburgh. #1 pick last year. Leaves second and 13. 22 seconds and counting. Eric Martin. Charles Dimry put the stop on him. It'll be third down and about 5. And the Saints take a timeout to get that clock stopped. 13 seconds left to go.
I think they stopped it at this point. They've got one timeout left. They've got that little time at 13 seconds to go. Why not take a couple shots down the field? You've got the Lonzel Hills. You've got Eric Martin, and you've got a quarterback in Bobby Hebert. Though he's made a few bad decisions today, he knows he can get that ball down the field. He could throw a ball 70 yards in the air without much problem.
He remembers well those days in the USFL when he used to throw that ball downfield frequently, but knows also that he's been made into a much more mature and consistent quarterback under the more conservative system with the talent surrounding him at New Orleans.
Well, he's approximately from where they are right here on the 26-yard line. He's about 42 yards away of getting inside the Martin Anderson field goal range. If he can get down to the Atlanta 35-yard line, then he can get where this man, number 7, can put one through for 3 points.
Eric Martin, Brett Merriman, Lonzel Hill, and Floyd Turner, 4 wideouts. Complete Merriman. They have the first down, and they'll have to take their last time out. 7 seconds remaining. So as the Saints decide what they'll do here on probably the last play of the half, they could conceivably get 2 in 7 seconds. We'll remind you that coming up at halftime, Brent Herb will bring you up to date on all of the activity around the NFL and a special look at the Denver defense, the Bucking Broncos.
What Bobby Hebert is to get a play in here in 7 seconds where he can get a receiver out of bounds because he is out of timeout. It's going to have to be about a 20 to 25-yard pattern, and the receiver will have to immediately be right there on the sideline and step out of bounds with at best probably a second left on the clock. Realistically, this may be the last play of the half. Just go long and throw it. I mean, it's conceivable. Anderson could hit one from 53, 55. He was doing it in warm-up.
A little roll by Hebert. Now he airs it out. Everybody jumping for it. Nobody gets it. And so we've reached the end of the first half at Fulton County Stadium. The hometown Falcons with a 10-3 lead over New Orleans.
The Jerry Rice play in New Orleans convinced me that we've got to do something to keep our players from anticipating scoring until they get in the end zone.
Well, you're a generous guy. I know you're hoping you get to spend some money today.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you very much. From the New Orleans Saints. And now as we are just underway in the second half, it'll be Atlanta ball. They have the lead, 10-3, and start from their 29-yard line. Kickoff return by Deion Sanders, setting them up at that point. Chris Miller brings them on out. Miller 7 of 11 in the first half. open on the ground. Gene Lang gets about 2 off the left side. We might point out that the Falcons, of course, without Keith Jones today, going with 3 running backs. John Settle doing most of the work in the first half. Gene Lang on that carry, and Greg Patera, a rookie 11th round draft choice, the only other running back in uniform. Inactive today, along with Jones for Atlanta. Elbert Shelley out with a leg injury. Tim Phillips, the rookie cornerback, nickelback player for New Orleans, along with Brad Edelman, both also having injuries and inactive today for New Orleans. 2nd and 8 for a long 7 will come. Settle will not hold on. Ball a little bit behind. It'll be 3rd down.
That ball hit John Settle right about waist high just as he was turning around and turning back to Chris Miller. You know, he told us a great story Friday about juggling. He said, I started juggling when I was a little kid. I'm up to now, I can do about 4 objects. And we have some chainsaw, machete, flaming torch, watermelon, apple. You know, what kind of things do you juggle? He says, bowling ball. Our director, Kathy Toretto, is a big
bowling pins, I think. I'd like to see him juggle bowling balls.
No, why? He's a big guy. He can do it.
3rd down. I can pay to see that. It does help his hand-eye coordination. Collins, 1st down, Falcons. The rookie's first catch of the afternoon, a 1st down in New Orleans territory.
Now, you hear a lot about quarterback styles, and you got to stand in the pocket and always throw off your back foot. Watch him shot put this one. He just sort of flings it with a little touch over the top. And Collins has got a step or 2 on Toy Cook, and Cook can't do anything but grab him by the back and make sure he goes out of bounds.
22-yard gain.
You know, Collins told us, if they try to do man-to-man with Matthew and Cook against me, I'll make them pay.
Well, the brash rookie from Northern Arizona is having an outstanding rookie year. Incomplete, intended for the tight end Gary Wilkins, number 87, Georgia Tech product.
Oh, it's not that cold out here, Chris. Come on.
Temperature's still in the 50s. The sun's gone down behind the stadium, but
it's colder than Eugene, Oregon. We were at the school.
I'd say. I love this guy's throwing motion. In fact, I like everything about him as a quarterback. I think he's going to be outstanding with great attitude and leadership qualities. What an athlete. Took the 25-yard field goal last week. Only points of the game against San Francisco. After Paul McFadden was hurt. 2nd and 10. Incomplete. Intended for Floyd Dixon. Toy Cook on the coverage. And that was as close as you can get.
The thing to watch here is on the end of this play, wide receivers never want to make it look like the ball's coming, because then defenders try to put their arms in there. Watch Dixon keep his hands at his side, and not until the last minute does he put his hands out there, and he gets them out there too late, and the ball bounces off him. So now watch his hands. He just now puts it up, but he waited too long trying to fake Toy Cook out. He faked himself out. He never got his hands there in time to catch the ball.
3rd down and 10. Last formation left. Big rush and a sack. 3rd Saint sack of the day. Well, Erling was there again. He's going to get at least a 3rd of that.
Well, normally you give sacks in either full or halves. They're going to have to give fifths on that one. There were at least 5 things. It didn't look like it at the same time. And Chris Miller, there was little or nothing he could do. They were up in the classic 4-man front, and they're running stunts and games. Warren gets free inside, gets his attention, makes him step up, and Swelling's the first one to hit him. Then Wilkes hits him, then Warren hits him, and then who else jumps on top? I don't know. There are at least a couple more.
So the Saints hold the Falcons. Bullhag in the punt. Harris waits for it at the 10. Short punt. Harris on the fly took quite a shot from Tim Gordon. Held onto the ball and got it to the 25-yard line. We'll be back. 13:16 to go, 3rd quarter. The look, it's downtown Atlanta, Georgia. The New Orleans Saints and the Atlanta Falcons at Fulton County Stadium. An arch rivalry here between these two cities in the Southeast. Right now, the Falcons, with a 3-7 mark on the season, have a 10-3 lead over a team still thinking very much about the playoffs. Hilliard on first down. New Orleans gets about 3, smacked in the middle by the linebacker John Rady, number 59. And under the stack, as usual, Tony Casillas, number 75.
Well, Tony Casillas coming into this game had been credited with 104 tackles so far this season, which is an incredible amount for a nose guard. I don't know why he's wearing this. Look at that sweat. He's got that sweatband on his left bicep.
Yeah, he's got a little blood in the elbow there, too, huh?
Is he planning on giving blood after the game?
I don't know. There might be some superstitious reason there. It isn't doing much good where it is. Second down. 7. Hilliard has the first down, New Orleans. Deion Sanders steered him out of bounds.
Hilliard got into the offense pretty extensively in the first half early, and then when they started throwing the ball a little bit more, he sort of disappeared there for a while. But this is the kind of season he's had coming in, and this is what he's done so far today. He quietly and effectively every week does the job.
First down. I formation. Hilliard again. Pickup of about 4. Casillas and Tuggle that time on Hilliard. You're going to be tired of looking at this guy.
You know, so far today, these teams are almost reversing their roles. Atlanta's playing like they're the 5-5 team, and New Orleans is playing like they're the 3-7 team. And a lot of credit has to go to this man right here, Marion Campbell, who's got this team ready to go. And this team had to listen to stuff all week long about, well, Steve Spurrier from Duke is coming in here, so-and-so is going to another place. And you see Coach Campbell's winning percentage is rather low over his career here in Atlanta, but this team is rallying behind their coach right now.
Second down and 6 for the Saints. They shift the tight end Brenner to make the strong side right. That draws Tim Green over there. Hilliard takes it back inside. Will be short of the first down by about a yard. Well, talking with Taylor Smith, the owner's group, father and son of the Falcons, he was quite firm about saying what he had said in the press here earlier this week. They haven't talked to Steve Spurrier. They have a coach. He's Marion Campbell, and they feel they've got a good young team that's on the rise, and that Campbell should be given the opportunity to coach them. Evan Cooper is the injured Falcon player down, one of the many good young players they have. We'll be right back.
And you see, this is the kind of winning record that creates rumors. And Coach Campbell is 3-7, and the rumors about him and his coaching career here in Atlanta have started. You got John McKay, you got Norman Van Brocklin, you have Bart Starr, you have Coach Kissling, who was with Pittsburgh for years, and it hasn't had much success. Coaches get too much of the blame in that case. I believe a lot of the blame goes in the front office. Who signs the people? Who sets the tone? Who drafts these guys?
On 3rd and 1, a flag down. Hilliard has the first down and gets inside the 45 to about the 43. But a flag down back at the line of scrimmage. Tim Green and Robert Moore finally got him. Let's see who the penalty is against. Tim Green out of Syracuse. And it's offside against Atlanta. You know, New Orleans will shake that one off. Evan Cooper back on his feet, eager to get back in. He's all right.
First down.
You know, New Orleans has done this so far today. They've been effective. They've used the short passing game. They've run the ball. But this is the part of the field something has happened. They've made mistakes. They get down around the 35, 45, right in that area, and they start self-destructing. The challenge for them in the second half is to be methodical and put it in the end zone.
Hilliard. Good example there of what Mike Gann was telling us in conversation with him on Friday, that Hilliard cuts back so well, and plus the fact that he's only 5'8", he's hard to find in traffic, and again made the point that they had an awful lot of respect for him.
Oh, exactly. He knows that with their defensive scheme, he has to stay on exactly the perfect shoulder, exactly the perfect alignment. If he thinks he can make a play and takes a chance, a guy like Dalton Hilliard can burn you because he can't cut back so quickly.
6 plays in a row, Dalton Hilliard for New Orleans. 2nd and 5. Again. Beautiful piece of running for a first down to the 26-yard line. Tim Green finally got him.
When New Orleans runs the ball, here's what they do well. They put bodies on bodies. See Steve Trapillo, Buford Jordan 23, Trapillo 65. Hilliard sees something and cuts back. But they just got bodies blocking bodies. It's nothing really, really fancy. They just get on there and make you wear you down.
100 yards on the day for Hilliard. 18 carries. Finally gets the rest. Jordan will be the lone setback on first down. Buford Jordan gets 3 as they try the left side.
Well, this is the #1 way in the famous NFL book of offensive strategies, how to cut down on quarterback errors and decisions. You run the ball every play.
Bear in mind, out that left side, they've got a rookie at tackle, Kevin Haverdink, the #5 pick this year out of Western Michigan. Because of the injury to Brad Edelman, Jim Grabowski's moved over to the guard position, and Haverdink playing the tackle. That is when they are all healthy, and there's the rookie. When they're all healthy, one of the best offensive lines in football. 2nd down, 7. Hilliard. Touchdown. Whoa, and Sanders threw him out of bounds, and he'll get a penalty. Hilliard comes after him.
He should get more than a penalty.
22-yard touchdown run by Hilliard. He was in the end zone, and Deion Sanders threw him out of bounds, and he'll get an unsportsmanlike conduct, late hit.
I don't care how much athletic ability any person has. What he just did is completely unnecessary.
A couple of them last week for Sanders, who is making his mark in ways other than using his ability.
21 defense. Penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
You know, that's just the kind of thing that Tim, you and I wanted to speak with him about. And unfortunately, for the 3rd time this year, he decided, well, I'm going to chill on CBS. But I think Deion Sanders needs to explain a little bit further some of the things he does and some of the mechanisms in that brain of the things he says and the actions he takes.
Well, we weren't offering him a cover on a national magazine. I guess that's why. Anderson with a point after. We got a tie football game.
This is a finely executed play by the New Orleans offense. Same one it seems like we saw the week before. Trapillo gets a great block on 59, John Rady. Hilliard gets that vision working. He goes back, gives Deion a little stiff arm. He's in the end zone, Deion. It's going to be 6 points.
Not only that, where he pushed him was right into a wall area there because of the baseball configuration of Fulton County Stadium, and you can see that it is padded there, but that's a dangerous thing. We'll be back in a moment. New Orleans kicking off from the 50-yard line because of the penalty to Sanders. Anderson, no difficulty getting it all the way to the end line. And you can see the Saints with a few words down there, and I think it might be just as well for Deion Sanders that he was on the bench, not out there where he normally would be returning kickoff. That is his usual role. He was off the field for that kickoff. And I'm sure there were some black-shirted Saints down there looking for him in the end zone. Well, this young man has got a little bit to learn about being a professional in this league.
Well, you know, some of the things you cannot buy with $4.4 million is class and maturity. That's got to come with aging and experience.
He can play the game, that's for sure, but got a few other things still to learn. First down from the 20-yard line. Atlanta in a 10-10 game. Lang is stopped by Swilling. No gain. A loss of a yard. And Pat Swilling in front of this sellout crowd at Fulton County Stadium trying to show that maybe the Falcons made a mistake, not taking him out of Georgia Tech. We're tied at 10.
And the play that put New Orleans back into this game, because really, folks, they were doing very, very little to be impressive. It was just a beautiful run by Dalton Hilliard. And this fired up New Orleans as much as anything else was Deion Sanders pushing Hilliard out of bounds.
75 yards and 9 plays, all of them run for that score by New Orleans. Settle. Nowhere. Nearly stopped for a loss. Every member of the defensive unit of New Orleans is there at the ball. Massey, the guy to get the first arms on him.
I can tell you from personal experience, playing against this New Orleans Saints defense can be a big, dark jersey tidal wave. Look at these guys. Pursue. Bam, bam. 5, 6, 7 guys are hitting you.
Third down and 10. Flags everywhere. Lang, the ball carrier, but it looked like the play didn't really get started at all between Miller and the center Dukes. Illegal procedure, the signal against Atlanta. It'll be 3rd and 15, and you could not hear Tom Dooley. You saw a sign. There's evidently a problem with the referee's microphone.
Keep an eye on Pat Swilling and Ricky Jackson on the outside here. They're coming after the quarterback. They want a sack. Swilling's going against Houston Hoover.
Up the middle, Frank Warren jumped. He may have been early. These Saints are fired up, Brian. You make a strong point about the fact that silly play by Sanders not only hurt his team with a 15-yard penalty on the kickoff, but it really seems to have steamed up the New Orleans Saints.
Well, you got to find kind of a safety valve when you're getting all steamed up, though, because guys can get excited. Number 73, Warren's going to get jumped. Nothing really draws him off. He just decides, the heck, the quarterback should be moving. It's time to go. And see at the top of the screen there, number 56 we saw there ever so briefly was Pat Swilling. He told us yesterday, you're going to see me over on the Falcons' right-hand side. I want a chance to work against Houston Hoover. He's a guy that likes to take a shot at you, but if he misses that shot, the quarterback's mine.
Swilling has Miller.
Pat Swilling has been on every one of the 4 Saint sacks so far today. Here we see Swilling, 56, working against Mike Kent, number 78. Watch how deep Miller drops. He does not stop dropping. He sees the pressure coming from the inside. He's got no other choice than to try to roll, and he tried to roll the wrong way. The alien got him.
We mentioned that Swilling likes to do well here. He thinks the Falcons should have drafted him out of Georgia Tech. And he's back here with friends and family watching. A block punt. Brian Ford. 2 points. Second-year linebacker Brian Ford out of Washington State. Right up the middle, block Fulhag's punt. The first block that Atlanta's given up this season, and it cost them a safety.
Well, this is a jailbreak. That's what you refer to a play where everybody seems to come free. Look at Ford. Fullhage's lucky he didn't get hurt here. He was all over his leg. Ford blocked it out of bounds, and unfortunately for Toy Cook and Mace, back to 39, they couldn't get the ball in the end zone for a touchdown. Had to settle for a safety.
So the safety, Brian Ford's blocked punt, leading to 2 points for New Orleans, a 12-10 lead, and Atlanta will have to punt on their own 20-yard line. Fullhage's punt's taken at 35 by Lonzell Hill. And the wide receiver gets it to the 42-yard line of New Orleans. Gary Wilkins stops him there, and so the Saints have good field position here. And the emotional tide has certainly swept in the favor of the New Orleans Saints.
There's offensive coordinator Rod Dower going over his offense with Chris Miller, but let's watch this punt again. Most teams turn block on punt. Everybody turn blocked all right, but they forgot about Ford in the middle, and he came scot-free for the block.
And he got the ball first, no question about that, even though he did touch the punter after that. That's a clean block, and a safety as it went through the end zone. 2 points, New Orleans. They have the lead. First down at their own 47-yard line. Hilliard picked up about 5. Tim Green wrapped him up, and Hilliard hauled him for an extra yard. Green's become a real inspirational leader on the defense of this team, getting a chance to play in a new role this year as a down lineman much of the time. Starts as a linebacker. Deion Sanders back at the right corner spot defensively.
A young player's first reaction in a situation like this, even as good a player as Deion is, your first reaction is to say, hey, I can make something happen. I can be a difference. I'll make something happen here, and they'll forget about it. He's got to play his game and not get excited.
Second down. 5. Hilliard with blockers in front. Not too much. Stripped nicely by the Falcons down linemen John Rady and Mike Gann. Rady, the linebacker, slicing in. Gann streaming across the line of scrimmage. It'll be third down and 4.
Those are linebacker eyes. Look at that guy.
Now the Falcons change up to the passing defense. Extra backs in the secondary come on. Dimry, Robert Moore, Scott Case. Case has been a starter on the corner, but he's been bothered with knee and ankle injuries the past few weeks. Interception. Sanders. Well, he hot dogged it again, but he did make the play. And Bobby Hebert, he did interceptions today.
He didn't make the play.
Well, I mean, he caught the ball.
It was no. Bobby Hebert, did not make the play.
Oh, right.
He made that play for Deion Sanders. Bobby Hebert made another bad decision and threw a ball where possibly it should not have gone. Deion Sanders in the top of your screen. He right on the right-hand side with his knees straight there. He goes back. Now watch. He's standing there. Bobby Hebert throws the ball right to him. Go ahead, get downfield. Oh, don't let a quarterback chase you out of bounds.
Hebert now 11 of 22 with 4 intercepts. On first down, again, not much for the Falcons, and a problem in the exchange from center once more between Miller and Jamie Dukes.
You know, with the style and character of this New Orleans Saints defense, they have the kind of defense that can say, okay, the heck with you. Offense, you're not going to play good. We'll win the game. We'll take this game over. Deion celebrating on the sideline there with his buddies. And Bobby Hebert, all in all, wishes he could have that pass back.
Along with 3 others from the first half. They went to the white shirts of Atlanta. Never had a 4-interception day. Second and 11. Miller, he's got a man open, close to the first down. Floyd Dixon.
Quarterbacks have to be resilient people throwing those interceptions and having all the weights and the responsibility on them. Everybody figures if it goes wrong, it's the quarterback's fault.
Fourth catch of the day for Dixon for 58 yards. First down. Miller quickly gets it off. Under pressure, Dixon again.
Now this is the type of passing game I thought we expected, or what we did expect out of Atlanta at the end of the first half. Getting after the wide receivers, getting it out quickly. Look at the cushion Massey, number 40, is giving Dixon here at the bottom of the screen. That's almost 10 yards. You can't give any receiver in the NFL 10 yards cushion. They'll do this, sir. I'm sorry, that wasn't Massey, it was Toy Cook, 41.
First down, Atlanta, inside the 20. Flag down, the pass knocked down. Charging in with Wayne Martin, number 93, to get a hand on it. Martin, the rookie from Arkansas, the number 1 pick. But a flag away from the line of scrimmage, downfield.
Disregard the flag, there is no foul.
Apparently it was an inadvertent flag. That will be 2nd and 10. Tampa Bay clinging to a 3-point margin over the Bears now. Cincinnati flipping up on the Lions. Dallas on top of Miami in the 3rd. 2nd and 10. Atlanta inside the 20. Trailing by 2.
New Orleans needs a big play right here to push Atlanta back out of field goal range.
Play action. Wide open. Wilkins, the tight end. Touchdown. "19 yards to a Georgia Tech man, Gary Wilkins. Second-year reserve tight end. What a pretty play. Perfectly executed. Davis for the point after. It's good. Atlanta has regained the lead. 55 seconds remain in the 3rd quarter.
New Orleans is wasting opportunity after opportunity to put this young Falcon team out of the game. They fake the play action to the right. Wilkins drags underneath. Now watch Raymer try to hit him. Don't hit a big guy like that high. Hit him low. Then you might have a chance of stopping him short of the goal line. Now watch him. He's into this. Watch this. I'm at home. I'm in Atlanta. I went to school in Georgia. I wind up and... Well, I get pretty good points. It didn't bounce as high as maybe he wanted to, but it's a pretty good fight.
I don't know if he gets any bonus for holding it on for 5 seconds there, like they do in New Orleans. He's happy with the 6 points. 17-12, Falcon lead. Time winding down 3rd quarter. The interception by Deion Sanders starting the drive. 45 yards in 5 plays. Well, this is a big week in football and a holiday week ahead for us all. Join us Friday for college football on CBS's number 10 Arkansas visits College Station and the number 14th ranked Texas A&M Aggies live at 2:30 Eastern Time. Aggies are 7-2. The Razorbacks 8-1 on the Southwest Conference.
And this one's for who goes to the Cotton Bowl. Texas Tech still has an outside chance, but pretty much the winner of this one's going to be right in it.
Yeah, and I think both teams will be in bowl somewhere. Join us Friday, 2:30 Eastern Time. Davis kickoff. And Atkins from about the 8. Takes a tough hit, but gets to the 25-yard line. Gary Wilkins The man who just scored the touchdown put the hit on him, but it's Wilkins who has yet to get up. Well, that was a physical mismatch. The big tight end on the defensive back. But Wilkins gave himself quite a shot.
Well, there's something about that old physics class I remember from school about velocity and mass and whatnot. Doesn't really matter how big a guy is if he's moving fast enough. And Gary says he hit me right in the face. I went to tackle him and hit him in my face, and my brain went, Ouch. Now watch this coming up here. Massey is going to come through and lower. Bam! It was a great hit by Wilkins. But just like as Atkins came into him there, Wilkins put his face right on his shoulder pad, and that puts the brunt into the brain.
Bobby Hebert down by 5. Having a difficult afternoon. 4 interceptions. Hilliard only a yard. Jesse Tuggle tracked him to the sideline, number 58.
And Tim Green, number 99, is over there headbutting him. He's going to hurt him.
They didn't watch what just happened to Wilkins, evidently. Wind up with another injury.
This is not a form tackle by Jesse Tuggle, number 58. Grabs Dalton Hilliard around the neck and throws him to the ground. Hilliard drops the ball out of bounds. Now watch Green. Get out of my way, ref. Bam, bam. We've got 3. We're going for 4.
Line judge Jim Quirk found himself in the middle of a headbutt contest. Second and 9.5 as we reach the end of the third quarter. Final play, Hilliard. And evidently they did not get the play off. So we're at the end of the third quarter with the score. Atlanta 17, the Saints 12. We pause for a word from your local station.
Magnavox, smart choices for smart people. Magnavox, smart, very smart. And by Miller Lite, America's favorite light beer, brings you the Miller Lite All-Star Super Bowl game.
Jim Ryan and Randy Cross, Fulton County Stadium, an exciting ball game here. 17-12 Atlanta lead, and that play did not get off before the end of the third quarter. So it is still second and a long dime for the Saints. It was a break for them because they got virtually no gain on it. They got an extra down in effect. Reverse. Floyd Turner and Atlanta ready for that. Tim Green. Deion Sanders. They were ready. Third down and 8. And these fans sold out Fulton County Stadium are pumped up. The Houdat with their team trailing now by 5, trying to get the Saints going, and the hometown Falcon fans loving what they're watching. Hebert deep. Complete. Brett Perriman.
What is this? Anything Deion can do, I can do better?
45 yards. Perriman, the second-year man out of Miami.
Well, he's the bottom guy on the screen here going against Deion Sanders. And he just takes him deep. Sanders gets his hands on him, but Perriman's a man with almost equal speed to Deion Sanders. Perfectly thrown ball by Bobby Hebert. He laid it out there right on the edge. Perriman never really had to vary his pattern an inch.
First down, Saints. Buford Jordan flashing for 4.
Well, Bobby Hebert needed that completion badly. Third quarter, he threw 1 pass to the Falcons, to Deion. Now watch Perriman go out of this ball, but the key here is the pass. Watch this pass right out there. I mean, he hit him perfectly in stride, and then he goes down to the ground after stretching out for the ball. But the credit on that play, besides a good catch, was a fantastic throw by Bobby Hebert.
I think Perriman enjoyed beating Sanders on that one. Second down, 6. Hilliard, about 3. Inside the 20, Casillas and Rady combining on the stop, and Casillas gets up limping.
He's been a little hobbled all season long this year with ankles. It's been one ankle and the other ankle, and it's been kind of a chronic thing for him this year, even in spite of the fact he's had a great season.
Not planning on coming out of there, that's for sure.
Take more
inside the 20.
Take more than a sprained ankle to get Tony Casillas to decide he wants to come out of that game, especially in a game like this.
This game is fun, folks. 3rd down and 3. I'll go the distance on this, maybe. Hilliard cutting it back. Good defensive reaction. He does have the 1st down. Jesse Tuggle picked him up at the last second with help from Cooper, or he was in the end zone. More of what Gann talked about is great cutback ability.
You know, as you watch this play, keep in mind what we're talking about here, the cutback. Onside, there's nothing. Can you see the whole backside? Dalton Hilliard can. Tuggle and Cooper just do stop their motion to the right and are able to come back and make a stop because there was nobody else to stop Hilliard from repeating that last cutback he made for a touchdown.
1st down at the 15-yard line. Saints threatening. 11:09 to go, regulation time. Down by 5. Up here, they shoot to the eye. Hilliard cuts it back again. Dances for about 4 or 5 more. They'll spot that ball at the 8-yard line.
Hilliard was in much the same kind of an offense at LSU. It's kind of thing where you get in those formations, you give him the ball, you let him wear on people. He's got a big physical line. He just hits them and hits them and hits them, and they start overreacting. He cuts back.
It's a 7-yard gain for Hilliard. 2nd and 3. Hilliard again to the 3-yard line. Tuggle is there. Marcus Cotton, number 51.
Besides that one long pass that Hebert did complete to Perryman, this offensive line for the New Orleans Saints is just putting their helmets and bodies on Marion Campbell's defensive guys, and they're just wearing them out. They're keeping these big bodies, 280, 290, 300 pounds, just leaning on the defensive linemen for the Atlanta Falcons, and Hilliard's driving them crazy, drilling it up there and cutting it back.
1st and goal inside the 5. Buford Jordan, touchdown. New Orleans back on top. Hilliard turned it downfield. Jordan took it in.
Watch this play. Number 82, Tice, tight end, comes in. It's called a nose wham. Motion guy comes in and double teams the nose guard. If he's taken already, he moves right on up on the linebacker. Great block by Hilgenberg, the center, and Tice, the motion man.
Anderson for the point after. And the Saints are back in the lead by 2. On the other hand, has turned it over. 4 interceptions by Bobby Hebert, not his style at all. John Settle, 107 yards for Atlanta, and that's why we have a 2-point gain here on the game in the 4th quarter, 9:20 to go.
And that's the thing you're going to look to see right now from New Orleans. They're going to come in and try to stuff them, get the ball back, and go on another long, methodical march. They've had the ball now for almost 33 minutes of this game so far. If they can get this ball back quickly, they may not throw another pass.
Well, were it not for the interceptions, Falcons would not have had the opportunities to be this close. Sanders will not bring it out. Atlanta will start from their 20-yard line. Again, a somewhat strange kind of play by Sanders in there, but let's remind you about the Thanksgiving Day game, the Eagles and the Cowboys at 3:30 Eastern Time. Enjoy NFL action along with your turkey dinner, and it'll all begin with the NFL Today at 3:30 Eastern Time. Brent Musburger, Irv Cross, Dick Butkus, Will McDonough, all on hand on our holiday special NFL presentation. First down from the 20-yard line. Miller, incomplete. Dixon could not hold on. A good play with the defenders around him. Double coverage. The ball popped out of his hand. Miller right on target again.
Yeah, we saw that little promo there for the game on Thanksgiving Day with the Cowboys. They're still up 14-10 in their game with Miami, and Troy Aikman's finally back, and he's playing real well.
Offense, first down.
I only mention that because he's one of the few UCLA guys lately who's been playing well.
Fair enough. Dallas on top by 4 over the Dolphins. Dolphins with a much improved performance this year at 6-4.
And Jimmy Johnson down in Dallas is starting to get sort of what he bought into. A little bit of a quarterback controversy with Walsh and Aikman. Now that Aikman's back full time, Walsh doesn't want to give up that starting job.
First and 15 for Atlanta, and whistles everywhere. Looking for the 30-second clock if there was a possibility of a delay or just an official timeout down here on the field.
There is 9 minutes and 10 seconds left in the fourth quarter.
Now they're correcting the clock time here. That's why the play was stopped. 9 minutes, 10 seconds to go. Regulation time. Get Ryan with Randy Cross and the Saints leading by 2, 19-17.
This is no time for Atlanta to get desperate. With 9 minutes and 10 seconds to go, they've got to keep things the way they've been going. They know they've got an aggressive team. Keep throwing the quick passes to the wide receivers, using the draws and using your screens. Don't get desperate.
Miller 12 of 54 passing. He'll throw now. Takes a hit, but gets the pass completion for a gain of about 6 yards to Gene Lang. Ron Johnson made the tackle. Johnson loves to have a running back out there in the open where it's one-on-one.
He says, you know, I could have 15 tackles a game, but if I could trade that for 10 bone-crushing hits, he says.
Quote, unquote, bone-crushing hits.
He says, I'll take 10 tackles. The heck with it. They can have the other 5. Let me just put the bone crusher on them.
Second down and 7. Good job on Lang that time. Incomplete. Intended for Beckman, the tight end. 83. And Miller off the mark. Following our NFL activity here in Atlanta, we'll have the NFL Today post-game show, scores and highlights of everything that's taken place today up to that point. Be sure to stay with us at the completion of our telecast. Third down. Opportunity defensively for the Saints here in Atlanta territory to stop the Falcons. And obviously a big play here for Miller and his Atlanta teammates to keep that ball. Almost picked off and may well have been. Robert Massey, the rookie corner. Yes, it is an interception. A diving grab. Intended for Stacey Bailey. Perfectly timed. Robert Massey picked it off.
You hear the term a lot, breaking on the ball. Here's Massey, number 40, right-hand side of your screen. Watch him break on the ball. He sees it coming. He goes in front of Bailey, the receiver, and catches that ball. So that's the kind of thing that makes a defensive back out of a small school like North Carolina Central a high draft pick and a guy that they make a commitment to before training camp. Jim Morris said, I knew before the season started he's going to be my starting cornerback.
Well, you got to like this guy, and you like his attitude. He had the ball on his hands when he came down with it, and they will have first down at the 30-yard line on a brilliant play. Diving grab by Massey. Hilliard 25-yard line. Gets about 5.
You know, one thing I found a little curious, Tim, right there on that last play, New Orleans got on the field and ran the play as fast as possible. Watch this interception. He's got the ball. Does he have possession when it hits the ground? It looks like he had the ball in his grasp and the ball hit. New Orleans didn't give the ref any time to take another look at it and call for a replay. They decided, we'll run a play real fast, and as soon as we run the play, the replay is a moot point. Now here we go. We're running again.
Well, again, you're in slow motion there.
Yeah. I mean, I can make a decision. Snap judgment.
That's an interception. Second down and 4. Ben Thomas leading a charge by 5 Falcons, stopping Hilliard. And maybe a loss of a yard on the play. Thomas, number 72. Been a pleasant surprise for Atlanta with Rick Bryant gone for the year. 4-year man from Auburn, a free agent out of from the Steelers, steps in there and has been doing a good job. You talked about the rare number of interceptions suffered by Hebert. Here's the guy that's really had the hot hand. 185 attempts before he had one picked off.
Only his 3rd interception in the year here in the 11th week.
3rd down. New Orleans, 55-yard line. Hebert locked the time. To the tight end Brenner. He's got it. One-hand grab by Hobie Brenner.
The New Orleans Saints have seemed to have gotten a wake-up call here in the last 5 or 10 minutes of this game and decided that it's time for them to start asserting themselves as a superior team that they really are. Now watch number 85, Hobie Brenner. You know something that might look unique to you folks at home? Look at his hands. Look at him catch this ball. One hand, fingertip, bounces it, grabs it, follows it, concentrates. And for all you young guys out there, he did that without gloves on. You don't need tacky gloves to have good hands. God gives you good hands.
Nice to see the odd barehanded catch these days. Craig Hayward to about the 10-yard line. Pickup of 5. And there you see them, naked hands. Cover those things up, Hobie.
In public.
Right. The rarity in the NFL these days. 19-17, New Orleans threatening again. 5:16 to go, regulation time. They're at the 10-yard line of Atlanta.
We're going to see New Orleans, I think, just keep pounding the ball at them. They're going to take it completely out of the game. If they can run 3 or 4 more runs, score a touchdown, and go up by 9.
Jordan to the 5. .452. Maybe a little sag in that Atlanta defense right now, Randy, and yet there's so much time left, a 2-point game.
I don't think it's a sag so much as they might be getting a little worn down. And Tony Casillas is finally going to come off the field. They're limping with that bad ankle.
Well, the sag comes from being out there as much as they have been. The Saints have had the ball, as we pointed out, much of the game, and had they not turned it over on the intercepts, Atlanta just wouldn't have had offensive opportunity.
You know, the ball's not even barely on the 5-yard line, and Atlanta has gone into their goal line defense. They're so concerned about the run.
Casillas had to come out. Malcolm Taylor was in for him. Early movement. It appeared to be the Saints. Brenner and Tice, double tight ends in, and it looked like it might have been Brenner who moved a little early.
Start offense. Start down.
Might have been a couple of them who did. Randy, you played on a great offensive line at San Francisco. Let's watch these guys and give us your impression of how they were rated.
Well, New Orleans has always been. It wasn't just Brenner's fault. It looks like a whole cast of casualties there. 5 or 6 guys moved. But the New Orleans Saints for the last 3 or 4 years, when they've had Brad Edelman in there and healthy, and they've had Hilgenberg, and they've had Brock, and they've had Trapillo, they have been rated probably in the top 2 or 3 lines in the league as purely a great running line. They're yet to prove that they can pass protect effectively on a consistent basis.
3rd down and 6, an inside handoff. Hayward stopped at the 5-yard line. Did not apparently get to the marker. Falcons think they've stopped him. Let's wait and see what they're going to measure. Hayward had to get a good solid 6 yards. Cooper, the injured Falcon player, down. Been hurt a couple of times today. And they'll bring the 6 on. Tending to Cooper. Evan Cooper has really been taking a battering today. He's been a very effective player as usual defensively for Atlanta. Came over as a free agent from Houston. It is New Orleans first down. And Cooper happily up on his feet.
You know, Evan Cooper was known by Schembechler at Michigan as a great hitter. But he's 5'11", 194. He's giving up 60 or 70 pounds to Craig Hayward. He just puts his helmet in his back, and I think the mere impact of hitting a guy that much bigger than him just sort of jarred a few nerves loose.
Cooper coming slowly to the sideline. Dimmer comes on the field.
You know, he's been a great story for the Atlanta Falcons. Marion Campbell drafted him at Philadelphia when Marion was there, and the reason he drafted him was Bo Schembechler was so high on him.
First and goal, New Orleans on the 5-yard line. Hilliard diving, hit in midair by Tuggle, and came down outside of the end zone. He was really exposed when he took that shot. See if Hilliard can get up. Dalton Hilliard, he's apparently all right.
He's fine. He's just a little disappointed he didn't get in and score. He does right here what he has been doing. He stretches everything out and says, cut back, here we go. Up, over the top, alley-oop, and Tuggle puts a good hit on him. Tuggle and Tim Green got a little assist along with Tony Bowick, number 70 at nose guard.
Length of the football from the end zone. Jordan and Hayward are now the running backs. For Jordan, touchdown. New Orleans fans have made the trip to Atlanta, enjoying that one. The Saints opened their lead. 2:38 to play in regulation time. Rookie Robert Massey's interception leading to this New Orleans touchdown. Anderson for the point after. And it's good. 30 yards in 8 plays and 6:42 off the clock. Tim Ryan and Randy Cross here at Fulton County Stadium. 26-17, New Orleans lead, 2:38 to go. So Randy, now the Falcons have to make something happen in a hurry. They don't like to play that way, but they have no other options. And they would, of course, hope for a big play from this guy on the kickoff return, Deion Sanders. High kickoff by Anderson, comes down in the middle of the end zone. Sanders dropped out of midair at the 16-yard line. Walter Johnson, reserve linebacker, made the tackle. Well, Minnesota 9-3. What a defensive struggle that's been. Likewise, Tampa Bay and Chicago staying close. Cincinnati beating up on Detroit.
The Philadelphia Eagles and their quarterback in the 90s have had a little trouble the last few weeks with their offense. They haven't been scoring very many points.
They sure have. That's got to be a major concern. And when you take Mike Quick and Keith Jackson out of that offense, that changes a lot. Randall Cunningham or no quarterback can do it all by himself. Wild card picture is going to be interesting right down to the finish. Miller on first down. Deep sideline, incomplete. intended for Michael Haynes. Well, there's a look at that wild card scramble. Philadelphia was leading their game. Minnesota was leading their game. But they were a long way from our Philadelphia. Minnesota leading Philadelphia, I meant to say. And you've got a real scramble in there because that game hasn't been determined yet. And look at all the teams still involved. New Orleans in the middle of the pack. They can hang on to win here. You've got a very interesting picture.
Keep in mind, this is a dangerous late-in-the-game team, the Atlanta Falcons. They've won many, many games coming back late in the game. They won 2 this year against New England and Buffalo, where they won in the last seconds on field goal.
On second down, flags fly. John Settle got about 4, stopped by Von Johnson. Later today, Green Bay plays at San Francisco. So they're the Packers still very much in that mix at 5-5 as well. And 49ers the only team along with the Giants to break loose, but 49ers have only lost 1.
Offense. Second down.
Holding against Atlanta.
Van Clayton, big fella. Caught you with a little bit too good a grasp of your technique on that one. And here Atlanta is in a position they don't want to be in. Second and very, very long. These guys are going to be coming after them. And look at the time of possession so far here in the 4th quarter. You know, we joked with Jim Mora yesterday and said, well, Jim, would you take 40 minutes of possession in the game? He said, oh, well, he laughed and chuckled. Oh, that'd be perfect, I guess. Well, I got news for you, Jim. You're right there.
Just under at the moment. One more play, I'll give it to him. Miller throws from the goal line. Blockers in front of Settle. And Settle, hard running out to the 26-yard line. Close to the first down. Robert Massey and Antonio Gibson on the tackle. And we will reach the 2-minute warning as Miller comes off the field. Well, no, Atlanta takes a timeout. 2:09. 2:09 remaining. New Orleans on top, 26-17. Brian with Randy Cross back at Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium. 2:09 to play. Atlanta took a timeout. They have the ball third down, a long yard at their own 26-yard line. 2 timeouts remaining to the Falcons. And 2-minute warning upcoming.
They don't have the liberty right now of being patient with anything. They have to make something happen big. Like running out the clock?
Trying to get the first down there. Evidently, they'll use up another one or go to the 2-minute warning now. We'll come back and see whether they got the first down. Stay with us. Short of the first down, we'll have 4th down and nearly a yard to go. And they need 2 scores, Randy, just to tie. A touchdown and a field goal. They've got 2 timeouts remaining. 2 minutes to play. Were you a little surprised at the last call?
Well, even in this desperate situation, I felt if you're going to try a pass, you've got 2 plays left. You've got 3rd down, you've got 4th down. If you're going to try a pass, try it on 3rd down. Now they're not going to surprise anybody. They've got to get this first down.
Settle running back. Lang set up on the wing. Settle may not have made it. On 4th down, piled up by Frank Warren. And they're going to measure again. So the Falcons 9 points down. Maybe surrendering the ball. And in effect the game. 1:52 remaining to play. A group of interested observers out there. They got it. Atlanta keeps it. 1:52 to go. Now they got to make something happen in a hurry.
Well, as you saw, they got that first down by half of a football. And that's just about as far as that offensive line for the Falcons pushed back the New Orleans Saints, about half a football.
Miller Miller with time in and out of the hands of Lang. Lang wasn't really going anywhere. Waiting for him, Von Johnson and Brett Maxey.
The plays that are being called here almost remind me of the fact that they're going for a winning field goal, not just the fact they need a touchdown and a field goal to win this game. They're so conservative.
There's a flag down, and it's going to be against the Saints on the far side.
There's Rod Dowhauer with the headset on, the offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons, with Millen, the backup quarterback. Hugh Millen out of Washington.
Saints were offside. That leaves 1st and 5. Miller flushed back the other way. Ball is caught by Sean Collins. A 1st down for Atlanta. Johnson was there, and Gibson to stop him. They're at their 42-yard line. Miller just gets it off. Incomplete, intended for Settle. James Gethers arriving at the ball just as he released it. 26-17. New Orleans leads. The Saints can get to 6 and 5 with the wild card picture still very muddled. Atlanta with 2 timeouts remaining, 109 to go, but they need 2 scores.
You know, realistically for New Orleans, they can't lose another game this year. With 5 losses, I really believe it's going to take an 11 and 5 record to be one of the 2 wild card teams.
Down again on this play. Settle has got about an 11-yard pickup. See whether he gets to keep it. 1:03, the clock is stopped. Wilkes and Johnson, Von Johnson, working together on the tackle.
Offside, 94 defense, penalty is declined, 1st down.
Wilkes is offside. So it'll be 1st down Atlanta at the 46-yard line of New Orleans. 2 minutes remaining. We're told at Philadelphia the Eagles are now in front by a point. Tampa Bay continues to lead the Bears in the 4th quarter. Buffalo getting a battle from New England today, and Miami has gone in front of Dallas 17-14. Stay tuned for our NFL Today post-game show, and we'll bring you right up to date on NFL activity. Miller pumps once and then just flipped it out, but it was an offensive lineman who was ineligible to catch the ball. That was Fralick, so he just let it go. Now for an NFL update, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
And Tim, here's one that will not be dropped. Sensational catch by Chris Carter of the Philadelphia Eagles, just inside of 2 minutes, and the Eagles lead on the strength of that missed extra point in the 1st period by the Vikings. Back to Tim.
All right, Brent, that came after that kickoff return by Herschel Walker that has given the Vikings early 6-0 lead. So the missed point after looming large there. 2nd and 10 here. Atlanta in desperate straits. 58 seconds to go. They're at the New Orleans 47-yard line.
They've got to push it downfield.
Settle out of the backfield. It's just odd that they're not trying to get the ball of those wide receivers deeper. They had 3 of them downfield there, and it looked like at least one was open. But Chris Miller, perhaps just so aware of this big rush that he's been getting all day, going to the back settle. He's rushed again. This time to Collins down to the 25-yard line. A 1st down Atlanta. And the Falcons take the timeout with 27 seconds on the clock. Well, following our football activity, the usual fine lineup on CBS Primetime tonight doesn't include Deion Sanders, but it does include the beginning of America's homecoming week on CBS. The question is Sal, the swindler Pisello, a character out of a movie? Or is he the real thing? Well, the government says the real thing. One of the mobsters who's infiltrated Hollywood tonight on 60 Minutes, followed by Murder, She Wrote, and the CBS miniseries Till We Meet Again, Part 1. Well, our telecast is supported by a great number of people, and we'd like to mention some of them now. Our coordinating producer in the NFL is Charles H. Milton III. Today's game produced by Bob Monsbach and directed by Kathy Barretto. The executive producer of CBS Sports is Ted Shaker. And our usual thanks to our great technical and production support crew. First down at the 25-yard line of New Orleans. Marion Campbell has one more timeout, but only 27 seconds remaining. He needs a touchdown and a field goal to tie.
And he needs that touchdown here. They've got to go into the end zone to set up an onside kick.
Miller. He got to Lang. Gets inside the 20. Flags fly there for the activity after the play. Nothing terribly serious, it looks. Down to 17 seconds. Atlanta trainers are out on the field, the equipment bottle guys, but I don't believe they took a timeout. We had an ejection here, do you think?
It seems that Bill Fralick got in a little tussle on the sideline. He may have been ejected. He's coming off the field.
Number 79, Bill Fralick. Didn't seem like there was all that much going on in that little scuffle, but that appears to be the situation. Fralick thrown out.
Now watch 79. Bill Fralick coming in from the left side part of your screen, dives onto the pile. That's fairly normal. You do that to help protect your back.
We have an unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 79, Atlanta, disqualification. After the timeout, second down.
Evidently, after the play was stopped, after everything went, possibly there were some blows exchanged.
Yeah, I don't think it's from that incident there. You see Waymer give him a little push. And now Fralick getting up. And that's what brought the ejection.
That's unnecessary roughness.
Right. Well, it's also in boxing definitely a low blow, a foul. So Fralick will watch the final 17 seconds from the Atlanta bench. The ball, meanwhile, backed out to the 34-yard line now of New Orleans. So the Saints are going to move to 6 and 5. And they will stay right in the middle of that wild card picture that looks like it's going to be fun right down to the end of the season on Christmas Eve. The National Football Conference. Miller for Bailey, out of bounds, incomplete. New Orleans are going to be at home next week against the Los Angeles Rams, a team that had a good win over the Giants last week, but has been shaky the last several weeks until that victory. Then they're at Detroit, at Buffalo, that won't be easy, and then finishing up with Philadelphia and Indianapolis, their home games. What do you think of that schedule and the chances of the Saints?
I think the chances of the Saints are looking weaker and weaker if they cannot get a consistent effort out of their offense. They got the defense to take them to the playoffs. The pressure is on the offense to do the job.
3rd and 20. Miller really lofts that one up there. And it comes down incomplete. 4 seconds. One more try on 4th down for Atlanta. Get some points. But this one is over in terms of the outcome. Saints made it a little difficult on themselves today, Randy. 4 interceptions by Bobby Hebert, uncharacteristic of him, only 9 coming into the game. Giving Atlanta a chance to win, but the Saints battling back. taking the lead and hanging on here. And Miller's pass too high for Michael Haynes, and that'll do it here at Fulton County Stadium. Jim Moore, I think, happy to escape with this victory. The way things started in the first half, with Hebert's interception trouble. So for Randy Cross, I'm Tim Ryan saying so long from Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. The final score, 26-17 New Orleans. You've been watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League. Stay tuned for the NFL postgame show coming up next.